So Flit started off when I met Alex out in China. So we both doing, I was doing a master's in automotive engineering. He was doing a master's in public policy. We both really got interested in how transport in cities was changing. And one of the things that he was interested in was the policy side. I was interested in electric vehicles in general. And we thought that folding electric bikes were a really interesting part of that, because with an increasing need to travel multimodal, so on trains and store a bike in an apartment away from theft, folding bikes just seemed like a perfect fit. So we thought folding electric bikes at the moment, they're quite heavy, they're cumbersome. We thought we could do something a bit better. So we set about designing something that was lightweight, really easy to carry, that could easily be stored or put in the back of a boot or on a train. And so that was the starting point for the project. So we work in a co-working space, and it was one of the other startups in the co-working space that introduced us to the SolidWorks entrepreneurship program. We decided to apply. The whole process was very quick, took about a week, filled out a form, got the licenses, and we were up and running. And what really interested us as a young startup was the speed that it could save. Obviously, the cost saving was significant. We could then apply that expense to other areas of the business, which again helps speed up the whole product development process. But it was really the extra tools available to us, and also just the support that we got from Solid Solutions. So there were times when we hit across issues that being able to just reach out to people and find a quick solution that worked well for us was really powerful as well.
Once we'd been introduced to the program, the application, it was literally a couple of forms. We apply for grants and things all the time, and it was definitely one of the easiest ones we've applied for in terms of the admin workload. And yeah, the process has been really great, particularly on the communication. If there's ever an issue, we found SolidWorks and Solid Solutions to be very responsive to that.
I think one of the big advantages of us going through the entrepreneurship program is that, to be honest, we probably could have afforded to have the basic SolidWorks package, but then we wouldn't have had access to all these extra tools, and so we would never have known about them. And so now that we're in a position as we're growing as a company, we know how useful those are, and we're looking to bring them back in. For instance, simulation, Visualize, Composer when we're looking at doing our manuals. These kind of tools that are really useful now, we perhaps wouldn't have considered if we hadn't have used them before.
Hardware is always tricky for startups. There's always a big upfront capital requirement, whether that's for tooling for manufacturing or even just getting prototypes made. For us, because we're a B2C product, in particular, we wanted to launch through a crowdfunding campaign, which also requires a lot of marketing spend. So it helped to free up some cash flow for us to be able to have a successful launch, which we did this summer.
Human capital is the most expensive part of the business for us. So anything you can do on the software side or on your any kind of development tools that you can use to speed that up pays dividends. So for us, it's being able to model things in CAD, being able to 3D print things, anything that can reduce the time to a rideable prototype just helps us so much in terms of finances.
SolidWorks, we found the level of familiarity across the industry was really handy. So on this kind of project, it's not just one engineer locked in a room on their own, working in complete isolation. You have to work with manufacturers. We also have interns who come in and work with us. And having an industry standard software that everyone is familiar with just helps to speed things up a lot.
One of the things that initially we didn't think of, but when we were coming up with concepts for the folding bike, we needed to communicate those really clearly to investors, to all the other stakeholders, to people that might be interested in working with us, to suppliers. And it's quite complicated to explain how exactly it folds and how all the bits fit together. So having a tool where we could very quickly, within the same package, do high quality renders, rendered animations, being able to do exploded views, to very quickly show people how it works, that was hugely important in the early stages. and we looked at Fusion 360. We looked at Onshape as well. So we looked at quite a few different options, but yeah, we just felt that SolidWorks is the best fit overall. In terms of so for instance, the Onshape was good, it's nice, but it was a bit limited on the functionality. And then Fusion 360, we just found that the functionality was quite good, especially for multi-body parts, but it was all the SolidWorks is so good on the engineering side. When you go a bit further down the line in the product development, you start doing things with optimization, and when you start linking with manufacturers, and you have to issue drawings, and you have to issue with things like task scheduler, all these things that are set up for an engineer going into production, we found really strong on the SolidWorks side of things.
The main advice I give someone who's looking at setting up a hardware business in particular is to be realistic about timelines. The process of developing a hardware product is quite a grueling one. It's been made a lot easier in recent years by having good software, but also good processes like 3D printing for rapid prototyping. But even given that, unless you're making something very simple, it's going to potentially take years to develop, particularly on the back and forth. We've now been doing this for 3 years, and we're still going strong. But we've known a lot of companies that haven't made it this far. So yeah, being realistic about timelines.